No, basically, none of the questions of the way we answered them got into the paper.
It was fun.
It was fun.
Do you want me? Cool. Do you want me to send me a call whenever?
Well, we can get 3 full pages of it.
So I'll put there after I
Yeah.
done.
So it's good to see so many people, some new faces and some veterans. Let's go ahead and get started so that we can get off into our days. This particular IMP, Inquiry into My Practice, I first did with a colleague of mine at UMSL, Ralph Cordova. Some of you have heard me talk about him. He and I went over to Barb Gillian's class at SLU, and we're exploring with her students a couple of things. One, just the idea of assessment and what learning looks like, how learning to see learning, which is kind of the title of this IMP. So we were engaging them in that, but also we were sharing with them this protocol that many of you are familiar with, this inquiry into practice, because we were hopeful that those students leaving and entering the profession leave with a certain mindset. One of being reflective of their practice, and one being open and willing and able to collaborate. And as you know, if you've been here, the kind of the tenets, the foundation of the INTELLAB is one of intentionally collaborating, intentionally reflecting, and sharing practice. So all that is to say, we went into Barb's class and we wanted to, one, explore what learning looked like, but two, we wanted to introduce them to this idea of intentional collaboration and reflection. So there's that. It came to mind, I think it felt relevant to me because as our evaluation model starts to wind down, I felt uncomfortable. Yeah, I know, right? Well, so exactly right. And that's why, I mean, in a very real way, that's why we're doing this particular inquiry, because I felt uncomfortable in a couple of ways. And I don't mean this critical of the process at all. Other people are ringing those bells. But there were two things that happened to me in the process. One, I felt uncomfortable lobbying for my excellence. That felt weird to me. I didn't know what that was. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know what evidence I just felt awkward arguing for my excellence. The other thing that happened was that I had to, and we had to revisit our SLOs, our student growth, and I started thinking about that. What was this really evidence of student growth, of student learning? It felt to me, and I'm going to speak for me, I'm not going to call anybody else out in the world, but it felt one, that they were fairly arbitrary, and it felt that they were, and we were even coached, we were told to set them intentionally low. We don't know what this is going to look like, make those marks achievable, right? So when I was reflecting on my SLOs, I asked myself difficult questions about what learning looks like in my classroom. So all of that is to give you a little background on why we're doing the particular IMP that we're doing today. Okay, and as you know, we're going to frame it with a professional conversation, give you an opportunity to eavesdrop on my thinking around this. You have a handout at your seat that looks like this, that I invite you to use as, don't feel like you have to write anything on there, but it's a way for you to follow the conversation that Leslie and I are about to have around this particular lesson. Okay? Ready?
Yes. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to start off asking you a kind of layered question. The first question I'm going to ask you is, what are you going to explore today? And that is in two terms. First term is in content, and the second as in pedagogy.
Content is teaching and learning. What does learning look like? How do we recognize it when we see it? So that's fairly simple and straightforward. Pedagogically, the way I want us to explore that, we're going to start with a bit of writing. That writing is going to fuel a conversation that we have around learning. By starting with writing, I can ensure that all the voices in the room are heard, and I can also tap on this very rich expertise on teaching and learning that we have. So we're going to write, and then we're going to make something and see what we can learn from what we make. If we learn by doing, we're going to do something and see what happens.
So I hear you saying a couple things there. First of all, the content is how do we evidence learning, right? How do we see
learning
it?
To see learning, yes.
Okay,
yep.
and then you're going to do that by two ways. I hear two things. By writing.
Yes.
And that's an intentional pedagogical move, right? Like we're all going to write so that everybody gets something on a page and something, everybody's heard. And then we're also going to create something, so kind of a maker sort of
yes.
lesson as well. So we can learn by doing, so we're going to. Okay, so how do you envision that unfolding? Like, what are the big chunks as we move through the lesson?
I envision three pieces. One, as we said, we're gonna do a bit of writing and sharing of that writing. We're gonna make something, and then we're going to debrief that model. We're gonna try to make sense of that model. Where does it serve us well? Where does it break down?
Okay, so a quick write, and then we will share that to make sure our voices are heard, right? Then the making of the thing.
Actually, two things, but that's a surprise.
Okay, so the making of two things, and then we'll debrief the process of making, right?
Right.
Okay, so after all of that is enacted, what do you hope that we take away as your students?
Well, two things. One, I think we will have a new and maybe nuanced understanding of learning. So there's that. Two, I hope people leave asking them the same questions that I asked myself coming into this. Like what does excellence look like? What does learning look like? And what are the implications for my classroom? I don't know that I'm gonna answer those questions. What are the implications for my classroom? I think that's a takeaway. I hope people leave thinking, geez, what does that mean for Monday morning when I walk in the classroom?
Okay, so as teachers and learners, we'll be thinking about our own learning and the learning, in our classrooms. What does that look like, right?
Absolutely. We'll have a concrete definition. We'll have a thing, but then we'll interrogate that thing and see if we believe that.
And you'll hope that we walk away kind of with further reflection on, okay, what does this mean for me in my practice and my
Yes.
students, right?
Yes,
Okay,
that's it.
you ready? All right.
Is that
Go
too
for it.
ambitious, you think? All right, so, on the back of that sheet, or if you have a notebook, anywhere that you can put pen to paper, I'm gonna give you just a few minutes to respond to this question. What does powerful learning look like? What does powerful learning look like? And if you're putting words on the page, you're doing it right.